All right, Arizona State, USC. As we go to the Pac-12, we got a slew of Pac-12 games next up. The next four are all Pac-12 matchups. Been arguably the best conference in college football this year with the way it's turned out. USC 21.5-point home favorites, 72.5 the total in this game. You do have to be leery laying points in this spot. USC off that Colorado Fox big noon game last Saturday where they dominated for 3 quarters, and I think they kind of fell asleep in the fourth quarter because then Colorado is all of a sudden roaring back to make it it was a flattering final score to Colorado. Let's be real. USC dominated that game for 3 quarters. I think they kind of fell asleep late. Credit to Colorado, not quitting, playing hard for 4 quarters. Shedeur Sanders and the offense, Hankerson and company. A big game for Omarion Miller, by the way. Really stepped up for Colorado at receiver with Jimmy Horn, Michael Harrison, Xavier Weaver, and the other ones in the absence, of course, of Travis Hunter. But USC now, after a big game like that, you got Arizona here. You got to go to Notre Dame after this. You talk about sandwich spots. Colorado spotlight game, Notre Dame in 2 weeks, and this game nestled in between. Not a spot I'm looking to lay 3.5 or 3 touchdowns or more with still a leaky defense as well. And we saw that last week against Colorado. Arizona 4-1 against the number this year. They should have beat Mississippi State. The Stanford game was ugly. It barely survived. That was a bad performance, weak performance from Arizona, especially on offense. But they gave Washington everything they could handle last week. 31-24. I was impressed with Arizona. They battled back. They were down big in that game, and they made it interesting in the fourth quarter. Better performance. And look, this kid at quarterback, Jaden Delora didn't play. It was Noah Fifita at quarterback for Arizona, and he played well. He played so well that, look, Jaden Delora was the unquestioned starter coming into the year, but it's not like, wow, there's a huge drop-off based on the way Fifita played for Arizona against Washington last week. I thought he played all right. And if he's starting at quarterback again this week because Jaden Delora is not able to return from his injury, I don't mind that because, I still have question marks about this Trojan defense for the duration of a full football game. We saw that. So combine the spot with defensive issues that I'm still leery with. Now, USC could score on the majority of their possessions here. That's very possible. That's how good Caleb Williams and Marshawn Lloyd and all these great receivers are for USC. They could score a bunch of points here, but to cover this number, and they showed it last week against Colorado, you got to get some stops. And Fifita played well against Washington last week, so I'm leaning zone at the very least. I think he could only go over the total, but 72.5 is pretty high, although it wasn't high enough in the USC game against Colorado last week.
Yeah, we were live for it, and I'm just like, man, should have just the over was in it. And I took in a ton, and it's just usually cash, whatever SC's team total, first half, they've gotten there. The team total, it gets there. I think you just stick with that. And they are at home. This is where they could pull away, but I think the number's too big in this one. I was probably a lone guy that had Arizona last week, but they got it done. And I think they could move the ball because SC's defense still just has problems. And it looks like, they kind of got up by 21, got a little disinterested. Bunch of points in this game. And I think Arizona, maybe hang around.
It's zone or nothing for me. In this spot with that defense, I am not interested in the USC side. I will tell you that.